no one's like, oh, you're only 21, you can't do this. When I came back to Australia and the industry's so much smaller, I really faced a lot of that. I'd worked on Fashion Week twice a year for 3 years straight in the UK. I'd worked on the Da Vinci Code movie. I'd worked on lots of TV shows, all these really good jobs. But when I came back to Australia, it was so closed off and everyone's like, oh no, you're only so young. You've got to be someone's assistant.
Bonnie Gillies is a global beauty expert. She's went from working on London Fashion Week to building her own makeup line, Basics by B. She's an industry leader and amassed over 100,000 fans on her Instagram. Oz Beauty Expert.
Every dollar I spent, I was making $7 in sales. So they looked in my ad account and they're like, oh my God. And they basically just said, scale, like just keep going until something breaks and then you recalibrate. I just scaled so quickly, so fast. If I could go back in time, I would have done it a bit slower, because what happened was...
Bonnie, welcome to The House Story.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very excited to find out a bit about you and a bit about your journey. So why don't we go back to you as a child and tell me a bit about Bonnie.
So I grew up in Newcastle. I had a lovely childhood. I was pretty good at school, and I did well in school, and I kind of got pressured into going to university because I told my parents I wanted to be a makeup artist, and they were like, but how are you going to earn money? And like, what does that mean? And in Newcastle, there was barely any jobs for makeup artists. Anyway, went to uni, did a year of it, hated it, quit, had a year off, went to makeup college anyway, and then here I am now.
Okay, and what did you start studying?
So I started studying a combined degree, business and hotel management. So I moved from Newcastle when I finished my HSC, but I was still 17. And I couldn't wait to get out of there. I always just felt like, even though it's like a pretty big city in Australia, it's a very small town. Like everyone knows everyone. And there wasn't any opportunity in the career that I wanted. Like there was no entertainment, there was no fashion scene, there was not really much of a beauty scene either. So I left when I was 17, moved to Sydney, started the degree, and then ended up going to makeup college.
Why makeup and fashion?
I'm an artist. I've always been creative. I was a painter and drawer my whole childhood before I even picked up a makeup brush. And I could never, back then I felt like makeup was expensive, but I didn't have any money to buy makeup. So when family were throwing old bits of makeup out, I would just collect them. And I basically had this kit of anything anyone was throwing out. I hate to think how old the stuff in there was, but had this kit. And I used to go, whenever Mum would go to the department stores, they used to have these paper face charts. So it was like for the consultants at the store to demonstrate colours or show people how to do their eyeshadow on a face chart. Like, put the colour here. And I just used to take them and I'd end up with this collection of face charts, and I would just spend hours, instead of colouring in, I was putting makeup on face charts. So I just knew that I wanted to do it. And then I remember seeing a careers section in the paper one day, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
And so you wrap up with uni. Oh, you dropped out?
Yeah.
And then what did you do? You went straight into a makeup course?
No, I had a year off where I worked in hospitality. I worked on Hayman Island for a bit. I worked in a real estate agent on the weekends, as the receptionist, just to figure out what I wanted to do. And I decided I still wanted to do makeup. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And were you hustling, working many jobs in year 11 and 12, or not really? You were pursuing creative endeavours?
I was very creative, but I did have a job. I worked at Big W. I actually loved it.
Okay.
Do you know what though? They must have liked me, because I started off on the checkout, and I was 16 in high school, and I ended up being in their cash office on a Thursday night. So I would be alone in this vault with, there was not much paying on a card back then, counting cash, $20,000 bundles. And I just think now, I'm like, they really trusted me.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so you go then eventually, after doing a lot of little jobs, a year off, where does that lead us to?
So a year off, travelled a bit, worked a lot, saved as much money as I could, because the first degree I started cost my parents a lot of money. They had to pay up front for it, and they were not going to pay for makeup college. So I had to make sure I saved to pay for makeup college.
Yep.
So I only got the first half, you had to pay it in 50% installments. So I got the first half and started, and then I had to figure out how to get the next half as I went to pay for it.
And how long is makeup college?
It was only 1 year.
Oh, so it's quite quick.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And then?
And then I ended up straight out of makeup college. This is a funny story because it was at college, but Elizabeth Arden in China thought that it was a makeup agency. So they went to the college and said, we need 2 really good makeup artists to come and work for 3 weeks, traveling around as makeup artists. And the woman that ran the college got a well-known makeup artist that had been through that college to go. He was a lot older than me, but he was well-renowned, and me. And I was like, are you sure you want me to go? And she went, yeah. She said, they don't have to know. You're really good. Like, just go. So I went. I was there over my 21st birthday in a country I couldn't speak the language. I had an interpreter with me who would take me around and traveled all around Taiwan, China, like doing all these promotional things for Elizabeth Arden. It was really cool. So that was my first job out of college. And then I decided, right, I'm going traveling, moved to the UK, and I thought, well, I've already got experience with Elizabeth Arden. I went straight to them and I got a job with them. So I spent the next few years working as a national makeup artist for Elizabeth Arden in the UK, which was really good. I did lots of department store work in Harrods and Selfridges, but I also got to travel. They sent me to Ireland, lots of different cities in Ireland to do jobs, do all their PR events and stuff. So it was actually really good. It was like Makeup Artist University, working in department stores, doing all these events, because when you're in department stores, you have to be quick and you have to do all ages, all ethnicities, and it was really good at teaching me the skills that I needed to go out into the world and be a makeup artist.
So you'd have learnt a lot. I
learnt so much, yeah. And it was also really different as I learnt when I came back to Australia. In the UK, no one ever questioned my age. I was pretty confident. I was just born with this sort of quiet confidence. But no one's like, oh, you're only 21, you can't do this, or you're only 22, you can't. You need to be someone's assistant. But when I came back to Australia and the industry's so much smaller, I really faced a lot of that. People by the time I came back to Australia, I'd worked on Fashion Week twice a year for 3 years straight in the UK. I'd worked on the Da Vinci Code movie. I'd worked on lots of TV shows, all these really good jobs. But when I came back to Australia, it was so closed off and everyone's like, oh no, you're only so young. You've got to be someone's assistant. So I found it really hard when I came back.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that age counts so much more here?
I don't think that they really cared about age. I just think it's such a small community, a small industry it was, and it was very exclusive and very hard to get into, and also pretty well paid. It was just anyone new had to really prove themselves to get in there. In the end, I wanted to work in film when I came back here, but because the industry was so small and so hard to get into, I ended up in fashion. It was just, I found connections. You really had to hustle back then too. There was no social media. It was hustling, finding people, cold calling people, trying to make connections, going out and hoping to an event and hoping that you meet people. You really had to hustle and network.
Where do you think that comes from?
Me doing it? Or
yeah, well, I mean, not everyone's got the ambition to hustle to get into a specific role.
I don't know where it comes from, but I've always been like that. I'm the person that if you tell me I can't do something, I will try 10 times harder to do it. I don't like being proven wrong. Yeah, I don't know where it comes from. I think that I was just born with that kind of,
Parents?
Determination.
Parents?
Yeah, but I don't think my parents are like that. My sister is. Okay. We're both pretty determined, and just sometimes we look back on things that we said we were going to do 10 years ago and went, oh my God, we thought we could do that? We just confident. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you came back from the UK?
Yep. What
happens in Australia?
I came back from the UK. I had a baby. I started working in fashion, and I was living in Newcastle. I went back and lived in Newcastle. I was having a baby. That's where all my family was, all my husband's family. But I was not going to let that stop me coming to Sydney and doing my makeup job. So for years, while my daughter was young, I spent working on makeup jobs 2 or 3 times a week in Sydney. and doing the commute, and it was tough.
Yeah.
Like a lot of call times when you're on a fashion shoot is 7 a.m. So there I had to leave at like 4:30. It's a 2-hour drive, but you've got to allow for traffic and everything. And then sometimes they'd be 10-hour days. Then I've got that drive home. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die on the road of fatigue or something, because this is not good. And it went on for years and I kept doing it. And then one day some situations changed with my husband's job. And he just came home and he said, do you want to move to Sydney? And I was like, yes, please. So we relocated with little kids, and we had a nice house there and everything, and we gave it all up to come down here.
Oh, so now you're at the beach, but in the city as well.
I'm like 6 Ks from the city and just like 1 K from the beach. I love it. I actually feel like where I live now reminds me of Newcastle. It's like very family, beach suburb. It's good.
Yeah. Bonnie, what are you known for?
I am known for my beauty advice, makeup tips, being a makeup teacher.
How did you get into that?
So back when I was working in fashion, I don't know how I made an Instagram page, but I remember I started posting models that I had done their makeup and writing a caption about what I'd used on their hair, what makeup I'd used, and then I eventually started a website. So it was like a blog type website. Same thing, posting pictures of jobs I'd done and then telling people what product I'd used. And it started getting traction. People were reading blogs back then, but I was completely anonymous. So I named it Oz Beauty Expert. I had a dream one night. I had a dream. This is going to make me sound woo-woo, but I had this really vivid dream one night about the beauty expert. This is what it was saying. I was like, I was going to be the beauty expert, and it was like this really good career I had, and I was called the beauty expert. So the next morning I'm like, I'm getting on. I'm going to get thebeautyexpert.com, but it was already taken. So I ended up with Oz Beauty Expert.
Okay.
And I was anonymous for years, and I just used to get sent so many products. I was in Newcastle at the time, and everyone, my neighbours were like, what is this stuff? We'd come home and there'd be like mountains of stuff from beauty brands. They'd send me stuff because they'd want
packages,
like products. They'd want me to feature it on my blog. So that went on, and then eventually I got approached by Roxy Jasenko because she was having a blogger agency, influencer type agency. And she said, you have to put your face to the brand. It can't be anonymous anymore. Why hadn't you put your face to it yet? Well, I was a mum with little kids. I was kind of a little bit embarrassed, I think. And I was in my makeup artist mindset. When you're a makeup artist, you just want to paint faces. You don't really think about painting your own face all the time. And so I did that. I started posting, and I remember I felt ridiculous, like pictures of myself and doing what I was doing on my own makeup. And that's when it really took off, because I realized people like following a person, they like following a person rather than an anonymous person and all their work. So as soon as that happened, and I just kept doing it, and I think it just escalated. I was being flown all around the world by different brands, like on these amazing trips. I was being paid. I was in ads for like Revlon and Lancome, and I got so far off the intended path. I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? I remember saying to my husband, like, what am I doing? He went, just ride the wave. Like, it's good, just go with it. So I ended up so far away from that and questioning, why am I doing this? What am I doing? And at the time, it was everyone was sort of looking at what other people were doing, and if you weren't doing this style of content, then it wasn't cool, and if you weren't doing this, and it just didn't feel authentic to me. And so I really stopped and was like, okay, why am I doing this? What am I doing? What do I like about it? And I realized that, well, firstly, I like helping people, and people are following me. They don't want to see like the latest trends on Fashion Week. They want tips. And when I would put questions out there, this is what I started doing, asking what people wanted. And I'm thinking they're going to say, I want to know how to do a winged eyeliner with a smoky eye and a cut crease. And they literally were just like, I want to know how to apply blush. Like something to me that is really simple, so easy. So I was like, okay, people just want everyday makeup tips. So I really changed the format and was just about helping people. And I kind of just became this person who the people that followed me, if they were going out and they're like, how can I do my makeup this weekend? They just go look on my page, find a look that they like, and just watch it over while they're doing it. So I really found that was like my path and where I was meant to be. Now you run a big e-commerce brand. How did that happen? So from that whole experience, I
Yep.
was being paid by all these brands to promote their products, and lots of people were looking to me for advice. And I thought, what is something that I can give them, like a makeup set that they can buy and learn along with me? And I thought a makeup palette is a really good idea. So, you know, like a palette with eyeshadows and blush in it, because you've got like 8 different things in there that can be used for pretty much a whole face except for lips and mascara. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make this. It suits heaps of skin tones. It suits heaps of ages. It's really universal. I'm going to get them made, and it cost me a lot of money. And I got this huge palette of these eyeshadow palettes delivered, and I just remember thinking, how the fuck am I going to sell all these? Anyway, they really took off. People were buying them, but what I realized is I'm a makeup artist. I wasn't a business woman in that sense. These palettes last for years. Like, if I was a businesswoman, I would have been like, what runs out in 2 months
Yes.
that can get people buying it? So once everyone that was kind of willing to buy it had bought it, I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to add
That's
more
it.
products to the range.
Yeah,
So I just kept adding products to the range and kept everything really practical, like things that people will use all the time. And I try and make it so that people, before they hit purchase, they're confident and they'll know how to use it. Whereas before they would have gone into a makeup store like a Mecca, and the shop assistant would have gone, oh, you can use this, this, and this. And they'd be like, okay. And then they'll go home and try and figure out how to use it. But I like to think that my customers already know how to use it before they even purchase it. Like, they've seen enough education and videos that they're like, I reckon I can use that.
Interesting. Where did you get the confidence to, do you mind me asking how much that first palette cost?
The first palette cost me $25,000.
Where did you get the confidence to commit?
Do you know what? It was really hard because I had a mortgage. Like, my husband was the breadwinner. He was earning more than I was. I was doing makeup jobs and influencer jobs and stuff. I had to just like squirrel away a little slush fund in the side away from the families. Like, the family could have really used the money, but he
Yeah.
was my husband was okay with it.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to do. So we just put some money aside, and like what it's turned into has been great. But I was really lucky I didn't have to go, and that's my whole job at the time. That was my side hustle, so I had my actual career to rely on for
Money as
an
well.
income.
Yeah. And is your partner any like business savvy at all, or?
Nope, he's a tradie.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you're both just totally green to this space and you decided to jump in.
Yep. So he's like really, he's like my rock, and I'm the one that goes out and does all this crazy shit, and he's just there when I have a breakdown.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you guys have kind of started to grow, have you had any specific mentors, anybody help you along the journey?
Yes, I really struggled with finding, I knew that there were things that I could be doing better. So I tried a few different business coaches, and I really found it was hard when you're, I found these great people. I met these great coaches, but they were from a traditional business background, and they were trying to teach me how to do all this stuff that wasn't relevant to e-commerce. E-commerce then was a whole new ball game, and it required like mentorship from someone who had been successful in that area. So I have a couple of good friends who also were in e-commerce, growing their brands at the same time. One in particular who I really like, still always I'm like, what are you doing? Give me this. Who do I contact to help me with this? And so she actually said to me early last year that I should do the e-commerce equation, and that really helped because that was just the right mentorship specifically with e-commerce. So I did that for a year. And then I've only just left them a couple of months ago because now I've brought in a couple of agencies to do that kind of stuff. But it was really good learning, and it really helped scale the brand.
What are some of the key learnings or takeaways that you've had over the past few years?
I guess that, in terms of growing the business, it was about paid digital ads, because before that I'd grown the brand on influencer marketing only. And what had happened was I had grown the brand on just myself and paying other influencers to post, and it was really good. Like, I would pay an influencer $2,000 and I'd get $10,000 in sales from it. The return was really good.
That's great.
And then like 12 months later, I'd pay them $2,000 and I might make $2,500 in sales. And like, oh, well, I don't really make any money, but it's brand awareness. And then 12 months later, it was like you'd pay them $2,000 and you hardly get any sales. So I feel like that was a whole meta thing, taking their power back and making the ads work better for brands so that they're paying Meta instead of the influencers. It's really interesting because I've had a perspective as an influencer
Yeah.
and as a business. And so like all those jobs, like when Meta ads weren't really that big of a thing, influencers were killing it, like making really great money. And then it just, Meta took away their power by bringing in the paid partnership ad. So as soon as you put that in, your stuff gets pushed down unless you have money behind it. So they were really clever. But what I think doing the coaching last year helped me with, obviously it's just really good to have a huge community of people around you that you can drop a question in and 10 people will give you like a solution, but also how to leverage ads. So when I joined them, I remember like showing them my ad account and like my return, like my ROAS. So do I have to explain what that is?
I think so. Yeah. Why not?
Okay. So say every dollar I spent, I was making $7 in sales. So that is like really good. Like right now, I'm happy if I get two times ROAS. That's like good. Yeah. 3 times ROAS ideal. But like some of them were like 10 times, 12 times. So they looked in my ad account and they're like, oh my God. And they basically just said like, scale, like just keep going until it breaks, like until something breaks and then you recalibrate. And for me, I just scaled so quickly, so fast. It actually probably, if I could go back in time, I would have done it a bit slower because what happened was, well, it's good from the money side, like it blew the business up, but I just would have taken it a little bit easier because what happened is the business grew so big and blew up. So stock, everything, it outgrew my skills. So I've spent the last like 6 months really catching up on being able to manage a business that's turning over that much money and going that well. And I also messed up with demand planning. Like I'd never really had to do that before. And as we were scaling, all the best sellers would sell out. And I just got so sick of it. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to order huge quantities to get manufactured. So we put deposits down on raw ingredients. We're doing these huge months. And then I decided, okay, we've got to scale back. Things got a little bit more expensive. Like we weren't making as much profit. And I thought, okay, we've got to scale back while we just figure out this rough period. But at the same time, I still had to pay my manufacturers for those huge amounts of stock. So just ended up sitting on loads of stock with not a lot of money in the bank. It was a real like lesson learned. There's really something to, you don't want to leave money on the table. You really want to grow as much as you can, but you've got to make sure that your skills are up to the standard of managing it, you know?
I feel like that's a very standard e-commerce story.
Is it?
Yeah. Just the amount of times I've seen it either with clients of our own or like just other e-com brands, or even heard it from people like yourself where it's been like, we hit product to market fit. We realized it makes sense. We scaled so hard. All of a sudden we woke up one morning, we're like, oh, we don't have enough stock, ordered a ton of stock, had a slower month and was like, what do? We got too much stock.
Yeah, it's a really dangerous game to play when you've got no money in the bank and bills to pay, but you've got like all this stock. Yeah.
That's amazing. What other lessons have you learned from your journey so far? Any standouts?
Well, I just think staying true to my purpose with all this growth in the business, it's really taken me away from the stuff that I love doing. And I love creating the products and I love making the content. Like that's my thing. That's why people started buying the products from me, is because they liked the way that I was showing them how to do things. And the busier I got and the bigger the business got, I couldn't do it all anymore. So I think like really making sure you're setting yourself up with the right support so that you can still do the aspects of it that you love well. And the aspects of it for me, they're the aspects that actually made it successful. So I've got to like remember that.
How did you identify that?
Well, just like feeling like I was neglecting the things that I should be doing. And obviously when I've been through hard patches with the business, just feeling like I'm out of my depth, and getting a bit panicky. Like I guess I've always been pretty safe. Like I said, my husband's been the breadwinner. I've had like steady income, all this like huge amounts of money and like certain amounts of risk. It's all like new to me. And so when I go through a rocky patch, like when I went through a rocky patch last year, I just like hit fight or flight mode and like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, what am I doing? But it's really amazing when you get thrown into all you've got to do is not give up. If you're like determined enough, you will figure it out. You'll find a way. And it's actually amazing when you're put in those situations where things feel really tough and scary, how like what you can learn and the people you can meet. In that period last year, like the people that I was connected with just out of desperation, me going, I don't know what to do. This is, and someone would go, talk to this person, I'll talk to this. I would just talk to anyone that I could. I would like, email anyone I could. You just actually bring all these new people into your world that really open you up to new things. And I've just learnt so much, much, ironically, out of the hardest situation that I had.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't think, many people realize that, but often looking back at some of the hardest moments are also the moments of the most growth.
Absolutely. And also out of that, you realize that every time something hard, not just in that or in anything in my career has happened, I'm pretty good at like knowing, okay, well, this is a learning experience. What am I going to learn from it? But I always look back. I'll go out, I'll meet all those people. And yes, they give me all these little nuggets of wisdom and amazing things that I learn. But I always go back and I think I kind of knew what I was doing all along. Like I just didn't trust myself enough. You get out of your depth and you start panicking. But like it's okay.
Goodness, Bonnie, you're throwing the wisdom out today.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think they're valid lessons. Like I think not a lot of people click onto them in the moment. And I think you can only see some of those lessons looking backwards. And I think for a lot of businesses last year was, especially in this country, extremely challenging. I don't know if you know, but last year was the highest number of bankruptcies in Australia.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, since the financial crisis. And I tell people that and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't know, but I did know, I felt it. And so, yeah, it's just interesting to hear you picking up on those little pieces and seeing it as a learning exercise rather than a problem. That's amazing.
I think it's really important to look at everything in that respect and, realize that you're going to learn from it. And I think just hearing the words don't give up, like, because you think so many times in business you're like, why am I doing this? I'd rather be at Pilates or like doing something else, like, and why am I putting myself through this? But then like the reward, like when times are good, it's worth the hard work. And like when I've been in my worst situations, just talking to other friends in business, and it always seemed annoying to me at the time because they were like, you'll be okay, just don't give up, just keep going. I'm just like, keep going. Fuck off, like you don't know how hard it is. And but they were right. They were right. Like you just don't give up.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anyone wanting to start an e-commerce business?
It's
early stages, really early.
Firstly, the game now, if you're selling online, is all about the content that you're putting out there, the creative that you're putting out there. So firstly, you need to know why you're doing it, have a really strong why, and your creative needs to capture people's attention so quickly. Like even every few months, the game changes. So you've got to be really open to adapting and really versatile. But I would say with e-commerce now, the thing that I'm finding is you have to feed all the machines, the Googles, the Meta, TikTok. You have to feed the beast, the creative. So we're just like a creative factory at the moment, all different types. It has to be really diverse in what you're putting out there. But if you can make good creative to sell your product, that people don't want to be scrolling through their feed and see something that looks like an ad. You need to slot right in there with all the other stuff and grab their attention in the first few seconds. And if you've captured their attention in those first few seconds, once you put that creative into a paid ad, the AI will like it. So it's really changed again since last year. I used to choose the audiences that my ads would be delivered to, but now the machine chooses whether it even wants to send your ad out.
What's some tips on content creation, maybe specific to Instagram or TikTok, or if you think they're the same?
If you're gonna be in e-commerce, you really need to set aside time for content creation.
How much time weekly?
I think you could do 1 day a week. You can punch out so much content in 1 day. And the beauty of of the current landscape is that the less polished it is, the better it goes. You know, like as soon as people see it's polished or identify anything that feels like an ad, they're gone. They've swiped past you. So setting aside time for creative, like content creation. What else was what was the question?
So like
again?
a day a week, okay, that's how much I
Yeah.
should be spending on creating my content.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific I should be doing for content on Instagram versus TikTok versus maybe just Facebook versus maybe Pinterest? I don't know if you do that, or Snapchat.
I don't know about specific to each channel. They are kind of edited a little bit differently. We do anyway, but it's always the same creative. We're pushing across the three. I would just say it's like diverse content. So for the brand, we're not always just doing makeup lessons. Like we've got a bit of the brand story and a bit of like behind the scenes and warehouse stuff. And then we've got UGC creators that will pay to make content for us, and we've got lots of TikTok trend stuff. So you've really got to mix it up with value and entertainment. Like that's what we find anyway. The entertainment factor really helps get new people there because those ones seem to blow up. But then they won't stay or be interested unless you're giving them value as well.
And quality versus quantity? Or balanced?
Yeah, look, I would have said before 100%, but now, you know, because of the content that I used to make on Instagram, it was like I always made sure I had good lighting, we edited it nicely, and now, like, depends what you're doing, but people just want to see anything, like, you know, like a little snippet of this and a little snippet. It doesn't have to be as polished. So if you're doing paid ads, you really need quantity, but saying that, you have to have we have personas. We know who the people are that we're selling our makeup to. So we're trying to think about creating our content in ways that speak specifically to them. So I would say it's not like different per platform. It's more about the type of creative that we're delivering and who we're speaking to. Creative.
I think that's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you decide to make your first full-time hire?
Well, here you go, the makeup artist trying to run a business. So my first full-time hire was my husband.
Okay. So he's not tradie anymore.
He's gone back. Wait, there's a story behind this. So he came on, things were booming. Like it was just, I needed help basically running ops in the warehouse and hiring staff to pack
When was
orders.
this? 23?
Early 24.
Yep.
And so he came and worked full-time for 9 months, but then we got to a point where cash was tight, we had loads of stock, and I realized I was spending a lot of money on him, who was, yes, an amazing part of the business and like was really helpful, but wasn't a leading role that was driving sales. That money for us was better invested into someone who's going out there and like, you know, in a sales generating role. So switch that up. Lucky for him, he's a tradie. He's gone back into he's you know, just has his own business anyway. So he went back, and then we hired a new digital agency where like social media manager. So just put it into roles that are actually like
Revenue
revenue generating. Yeah.
Okay. And in the meantime, you've hired a couple of other players.
Yep.
What are they supporting on?
Social media. One thing that's really important to us is because we're an e-commerce store, we're really mindful of still having a customer experience. Our customers don't get to go into David Jones and talk to a consultant and have the full brand experience. So we've always done pop-ups for years now. We've done them. We did one in Martin Place, and they've always been really good. They're not a pop-up store. Doesn't really generate loads of sales. You're not in it for the sales, but it's so good to have activities that like activations. You invite customers in, you meet new people. We just did we've done them in Melbourne. We just did one in Bondi Beach, which was great because not only do your customers get to have that in-person experience, you also meet a whole new range of customers.
Yeah.
So they're really rewarding for us, and they're a really important part of our marketing strategy. So yeah, that role, the activations, the events, the brand launches, we really try and make that part of the community, because that's why like what kind of differentiates us is we're trying to we're making it like a community, even though the shopping experience has only been online up until we're with Adore Beauty now. So it is actually in some physical retail stores, which is good. But yeah, so that role is really important. And then now we're realizing we've got an in-house content creator. So she's really great. She's like the TikTok native generation. Okay. She's like really good at nailing all that stuff that maybe we don't understand as much.
Yeah.
And then someone to manage social media, because there is really something to be said about organic sales from organic social media and organic posting.
Huge, yeah.
It's really easy to get lazy with that when you've got paid ads going, generating stuff. You kind of forget about, does this really do anything? But it actually does, and just growing that following and community online as well. So I would say our most important roles at the moment are like our marketing team that do organic socials and the community building stuff.
What's a common myth that you see in this space, makeup space?
Like with product or business, do you
Product.
mean? Well, you know, there's so much talk around being environmentally friendly and cleaner ingredients, and so many brands are talking the talk but not actually doing anything different to a lot of brands. So I feel like there's a bit of a myth about, I just feel like this whole greenwashing is a bit of a, I don't know, there's just a bit of a myth. I think there's a lot of brands we really are really careful and critical and spend a lot of time making our formulations. Our formulations are a beautiful mix of clean, man-made ingredients made in a lab with naturally derived ingredients, and that's what makes the best makeup. But there's so many brands out there who aren't really doing that much, but they'll just put some sort of spin on it. So I guess the consumers have a bit of a myth. Sometimes it's a bit of a myth, some of the things that they believe. They want to choose better, but it's very hard for the consumer, I think, to figure out how to actually make those choices and decipher what the bullshit is and what brands are actually doing a really good job at being more sustainable or being cleaner.
What should they look out for? How can they be more conscious or
I
aware?
I guess just researching ingredients from and reading what a brand is about. Like, we have a statement on the website that kind of says all the ingredients that we avoid, which to the savvy beauty consumer, they'll be like, yeah, okay, those things aren't in there. So I guess doing research on not just the ingredients, but also on the brand and just seeing what they're committing to. Not just like ads that say like little words that allude to being cleaner or greener. And then they should also not, like, it's hard. They should also just not believe that there's so much spin on they shouldn't just take ads and brands saying that this is cleaner or this ingredient. They shouldn't take it at face value. They should actually do a bit of research. There's really great websites out there like Paula's Choice, where she has like an encyclopedia of ingredients. They shouldn't just believe, consumers shouldn't just believe that natural is better, because a lot of the times there's the beautiful man-made ingredients that are so much better for your skin than something natural would be. I think the best products are when they're a blend of both man-made and natural. As many naturally derived ingredients as possible, while making sure it's got a really great shelf life and it works really well. It's high performance, and it's actually like things do what they claim that they do. So I guess it's just not buying into that all natural is always better. It's more about what ingredients are in there.
Interesting. What's next for you, Bonnie?
So we're launching foundation products, which we've never done. I've always wanted to do, but it's really hard, because not only do you have to have 10 shades or more, you have to have a different foundation for different skin types. So a dry skin person won't use the same foundation as an oily skin person, but then you have to have all the colours to suit all the skin tones. And the first one that we're bringing out has an SPF in it as well. So that just adds another layer of complexity, because I'm really all about making sure I want makeup artist quality products. I don't want something that feels sticky or thick or, like some oily sunscreen. So that's been a really long process developing that. And we're launching the first part of that range at the start of next month, which is good because it's business smart as well. It's something people repeat by like every 3 months.
Ahead of BFCM as well?
Yeah, and we're going to do a really good loyalty program, which we haven't done before, just so that to encourage people to keep buying those products from us. So I'm really excited about the foundation range because that will totally finish off the range. And then, just trying to grow. We've got about 15 to 20% of our customers are in the States, and then about another 10 are in the UK. So they're really untapped audiences for us. I've realised that our content here really resonates with Australians, obviously, because we get it. It's the culture. And I've never really had the money or the team to specifically make creative that speaks to those markets.
Yep.
So I think in terms of marketing, the next big thing for us is really like trying to work with some influencers and do some maybe marketing activations, especially in the States. And we've got this digital agency that we're working with now that's based in the States.
Nice.
And they're just because they understand that culture a little bit more than we do. So growing those markets definitely, because we've had a lot of traction with minimal effort. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do if we actually put some effort into it and spend some time really trying to make some good things happen.
Bonnie, if this was your last podcast episode, what is something you'd want someone to take away from it?
I would want someone, if they're going through a tough time with their business, or I'd want them just to hear me saying, don't give up, it's going to be okay. Like the difference between someone succeeding or failing is them giving up, I think.
And it's such a fine line.
Yeah. And I heard someone speaking the other day on a podcast, and he just said, if you give up, you will just lose a little bit of self-respect that you've given up. Like what's the worst that can happen? You might lose a little bit of money. It's okay. You've still got your family, you've still got your health, like hopefully. But like, if someone out there is like going through a phase where they're questioning, why am I doing this? Or do I even want to do this if someone's going to start a business? Just do it. Like what's the worst that can happen? It's a little bit scary, but life begins at the edge of your comfort zone, I think.
I love that. Bonnie, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.